Welcome back to the show. Well, it has been a year of change for Sophie Grégoire Trudeau, and she is marking this new chapter in her life with a book that takes readers on a journey towards self-discovery and acceptance.
Closer Together is her most candid work to date and draws on experts to help us live a healthier, happier life. Thank you so much for sticking around. Can we give her another round of applause? I'm so glad that you're here. I feel like you're softening all of my hardness already. It's only like segment 3.
I love that. That's what the book is about, actually.
Is it?
I'm looking at my daughter because, you know, yes, I'll admit it, sometimes I kind of lock the door in the bathroom, like, leave me alone, I need to write.
I love that honesty.
But it was an incredible year and 2 years and 3 years and 4, but you know, everybody has their own life path, right? And we all have our type of suffering, and we should never compare our own suffering. We're all one trauma away from each other. It takes one dramatic life event to change your brain, change the way you perceive yourself and others, or a series of little traumas that you don't even notice. And you're like, whatever, it's just there. And then it catches up and your body speaks to you.
Yeah.
So it was an incredible process to write because I tell a little bit of my story in every chapter, because for me the only way you can teach is by experience. So whether I'm teaching as a yoga teacher, yoga nidra teacher, or in my book as a mental health advocate, I can only teach from my perspective and what I lived through. And then in every chapter I go and get one of the best experts in their fields because I had access to that. But I told myself I have access to all this amazing knowledge and science and research, what good does it do if it's on my desk and I'm not sharing it with people? So I decided to write this book, and you know, I just feel right now that it's resonating so deeply. And when you said to soften my heart parts, I don't think there's a better way to live than to look at your truth. And it hurts, by the way. You know, we are not taught in our society to sit with pain without feeling overwhelmed. And although we're at the latest technological advancements everywhere in this, you know, most partly in this world and in space, we've been taking our lives away at unprecedented rates. So 20 years ago, when I told my story that I suffered from eating disorders when I was younger, I was a newcomer on the television and radio industry. And I said, oh my God, I'm gonna lose all my contracts the next day. But you know what? Not at all. It begun a journey of integrity, of congruence within me, of honesty, and at every single step, now at 49, I can say, even with all the volunteer work that I've done in the past, 10 years on the co-political path, I've always stuck to that. I'm not perfect, it's messy at times, but I've stuck to that.
I think it's so
and we
great.
love that part.
Yeah, totally. That's what we love. And you've shared so much of yourself, but I want to go back to what you were just saying about how, there's a world that's right now very hard, or it seems that way at least, especially online, but there's a lot of anger. There are a lot of people who have a lot of pain that they haven't dealt with at all. And in the book, you talk about the front row seat that you've had to online abuse and the hatred directed towards you and your family, in some case, very serious threats. How do you deal with that?
It's a process. I've seen also ministers and members of parliament receiving incredibly toxic and dangerous, I would say, hate speech. So in the book, I sit down with an expert on dehumanization called David Livingstone Smith, and he talks about the fact that, and he deals with people who commit atrocities, right? And he talks about the fact that hatred stems from a deep need for connection. And as a mental health advocate, I try to see it from another perspective. All these people who send this hatred out into the world from a place of insecurity. To feel secure in yourself is to not be threatened by the difference of others. Look at our country.
Sophie, oh my gosh.
And I have...
Sorry.
No, I have chills because this is the state of the world right now with all this division and polarization. If we are threatened by the difference of others, we're not going to give ourselves the tools to face the crises that we're facing as a humanity. So, to answer your question directly, I've had to do my own inner work to not feel overwhelmed by, this negative toxicity. But what I've learned is 2 things. It comes from a place of lack of emotional nourishment, insecurity, and it's not that personal. It's not that personal. And the other big lesson is don't take anything personally in life. Oh my God, the weight that it lifts off your shoulders. So I've been trying to create distance between the noise. I want to hear the music of life, not the noise.
I love that. Well, We talked about it a little bit earlier, but you dedicate an entire chapter of your book to love and to relationships, how to navigate the complexities of a relationship, how to be vulnerable as well. And you say, quote, how difficult relationships can be to sustain. It takes work, sometimes hard work, to get it right. So how then do you navigate this as you're writing this and your own personal life that is quite public because of the nature of your life? So when did you know and how did you determine how you were going to navigate that part of your own life?
I think, you know, we try to get it right. What does that mean? When you love somebody, what does that truly mean? That, oh, you keep the unit exactly as it is? I think that, you know, and Esther Perel, who I quote in my book, who's an amazing woman and who I know, she says, we don't have to slay or kill a relationship in order to change its structure. But because we're, right? But because we're vulnerable, we don't want to be abandoned. We don't want to be rejected. We want to be loved and taken care of. But if we can't find that place of security again, in our nervous systems as well as in our minds and in our hearts, it's very difficult to accept our partner's differences. And here we go, is that sometimes when you truly love someone, you understand that at a certain point, and this makes me emotional, you have to set them free. Whatever structure that takes, you go for that leap, you jump across that circle of fire, you take that risk because you're choosing your authenticity over your attachment. And that's living with integrity.
You know what? I just want to talk about your bravery, because I think many people have gone through separations and can relate to your story. And it's one thing to do it and it's painful on your own to go through those kinds of things, but to have it happen in the public eye, I think many people would have just been like, oh, I'll just wait until this is no longer as much of a focus.
Oh, trust me, I've thought about that.
But so talk about that, like that making that bold decision.
So, as somebody who's interviewed, you know, a lot of celebrities and met kings and queens and popes and name it, right? I had an incredible privilege, but at the same time, I realized one thing. It's all an illusion. The titles, the accomplishments, it's what kind of human being are you and what's left when the spotlights are off, and how do you talk to yourself in your bedroom when nobody's looking? That's the human being I want to meet. So when I integrated the fact that, yes, you're right, 2% of my life is public in a way. But that's not how I live in my household, how I interact with the world and my kids. We're real human beings and we're grounded and we're imperfect and we love each other and we try our best. So I decided, you know, around almost at I was still 48, I'm going to take the world's perception, because now I feel secure enough in myself to take it, put it out the window, and choose with my truth and my integrity. And the rest is not up to me. I have to face it.
I love that. Sophie, it's a beautiful read. It's a beautiful read. Thank you for writing it. Thank you for sharing it with all of us. And thank you for being here today.
I love you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. So the book is called Closer Together. It is out now. Make sure to get your copy today. Now, if you are in Toronto, you can catch Sophie at Indigo tomorrow to talk about her new book. And you can get tickets by going to ticketscene.ca. And studio audience, great news for you. You're getting your copy today. You will enjoy it.
Hey there, what did you think? Drop your comments below and join the conversation. And don't forget to like and subscribe so you can find more on everything from food and fashion to pop culture and current events. See you soon.